Hey there, K-Korner family! Welcome back to another episode of Jaw-Dropping Can't Make This Up Stories. I'm Crown, your host on this wild ride through the unbelievable, yet true. Whether it's standing up to Karens, locking horns with a space-stealing cyclist, or dealing with some seriously entitled people, we've got it all. So grab your popcorn, settle in, and let's dive into the world of the absurd and audacious. Remember, life's too short to not have a good laugh. Let's get started. Hello there guys, short backstory. I am suffering from social anxiety and the key element to the story is, I hate when strangers touch me. I get really uncomfortable / freaked out by it. That and the fact that I did take a couple self-defense classes a couple of years ago. Not too much, but enough to know how to strike a punch. So this story happens in a local go-to discount store. The dress code is a blue polo with the store's logo in a big yellow font on the back and a small logo on the front. It really shouldn't be hard to spot when someone is an employee. I was wearing a classic white shirt at the time, not remotely any hue of blue, and no bright yellow name tag on it. Anyway, I was casually browsing the store, putting stuff in a cart I was carrying with me. At some point I decided that I don't really want this random item, so naturally I go to put it back, because, well, I'm a decent human being that doesn't leave stuff laying randomly. In comes the angry witch. Karen proceeds to first snap her fingers and say something along the lines of, "Hey you, come over here." I ignore her, thinking she isn't talking to me because why would she? I'm obviously not an employee. Turns out Karen didn't like this. At one point I walk away from her toward the registers to pay for my goods. As I'm walking away, Karen proceeds to walk up behind me, grab me by my shoulder, yell something like, "How dare you blah blah blah, I'm a self-entitled witch yada yada yada. You shouldn't ignore me squee squee," and spin me around. As I mentioned, I'm a no touchy guy, and I'm not saying what I did is necessarily okay, but I acted on pure instinct from what I learned in self-defense. Mid-spin around, I yell as "back off" as loud as I can. A good tactic to use if you're being assaulted or harassed, as it works as a deterrent factor for the assailant, because you're not an easy target, and it also draws people's attention, thus giving you witnesses. And proceeded to give a mixture of a shove and a punch. The result of the punch was Karen falling flat on her back and proceeding to yell even more obscure things. "What the actual heck are you doing, lady? What the heck, did you just punch a paying customer? I demand to talk to your manager right now." "What? I don't work here." "What the hell, Karen? You filthy liar, you just assaulted me. I'll have you fired and arrested." Luckily, a manager was actually in the same aisle as we were in. Why she didn't ask him is beyond me. He's wearing the name tag and all. And I guess he heard the shouting cause he came rushing over. "What's going on here?" "Your bad employee just ignored me and then proceeded to assault me completely unprovoked. I demand that you fire him and call the police." "Lady, I told you I don't work here. You assaulted me. Of course I'm going to defend myself." "This man doesn't work here, ma'am." "Of course he is. He's putting things back on the shelves." "He still doesn't work here. Never has either, as far as I know." "I still demand that you call the police." And now this is where the malicious compliance comes in. The manager gave me a knowing look and a smile. Turns out the store has CCTV cameras pointing just down this aisle. "I'll be happy to call the police for you, ma'am. I'm sure they will be here soon." "Look man, I really just want to buy my stuff and go home." "You're not gonna go anywhere. You assaulted me. You're lucky I'm going to the police instead of beating you up." Mature, wow. Who would have imagined? Long story short, the manager called the police and two nice gentlemen in uniforms were with us within 10 minutes, asking what happened. Karen proceeds to give the story about how I completely ignored her because she had a question, and that I then proceeded to hit her and kick her. What the hell, I shoved her out of the way. And I tell my story, where she keeps screaming about how I'm a filthy liar and she's a poor victim because she's a woman and all that sorts of crap. The manager tells us that he can quickly pull up the footage from the CCTV, and the police were more than eager to see it. About 5 minutes later, we're all standing in the back looking at the footage. Officer says, "Well lady, it does look like you assaulted him and he simply defended himself. I don't spot him either punching or kicking you." This results in arguing that would most likely be flagged for excessive foul language, and is just one giant mess of a discussion between her and the officers. I guess it can be summarized that she had a moment. and it ends with her lunging at one of the officers, looks like she was going to slap him or something, and she was taken back to the station with them. Apparently, attempting to assault an officer isn't very popular with said officer. I have no clue what happened to her, but I was free to go. And I got a free coupon for approximately $35 for the store, which was more than the total I was buying for, so I was quite happy with that. I saw the manager a couple times in the store afterward. Apparently the crazy woman has been banned from the store, but he hasn't heard anything new either. It was all one big mess of what the heck is going on. Edit. So some people have been asking what happened to the lady, if I pressed charges or whatever. She did end up getting a sentence for trying to assault the officer. What it was, I don't know, but at least she got what was coming for her. So I'm living in Japan now, and here people ride bicycles a lot. You can't leave your bike anywhere and you have to pay for parking, between $1 and $2 per day. There are very few free parking areas for bicycles. Most people leave their bikes at the same place, so they pay monthly because it's cheaper and you have your own space. This started a couple of weeks ago. Someone in my building started having a guest who decided to steal my bicycle parking space whenever they came to visit. Sometimes they stayed the whole night, so I had to go to the station, pay $1 and come all the way home walking, which meant I would need to walk to the station the next day, getting up earlier, walking like 20 minutes to the station while carrying my heavy bag. All the bicycle spaces have a number, which means they are reserved for someone. Mine is the 105, but this jerk decided to take mine whenever they came to visit. The second time this happened, I told the building manager, but they didn't do anything. The third time I saw the bicycles there, it was the same red expensive bicycle, and I left a note in Japanese saying, "Please don't leave your bicycle here, this is my space and I'm using it every day." I found the note taped with the tape I used to tape it on their bike to my parking space, and it had a couple of bad words in Japanese at the end. Basically, he was not only stealing my space but making fun of me by insulting me. Fine, it's just fine. I probably wouldn't have done anything about it if he hadn't written those words. This triggered me and got the worst out of me. This person did it again a couple of times, so I knew this would continue. I was thinking about buying another bicycle, a better, more expensive one I could use to go on cycling trips, so a good chain/lock was needed anyway. I bought one of the thickest ones they had at the store and decided to try its efficiency. I locked his bicycle the next time I saw it there. It hasn't moved for the last 7 days. There were 2 notes. The first one was a very aggressive one, with bad words and threats about going to the police, which I don't care. Let's go that way, buddy. The second note days later was an apology, and they begged for me to unlock the bike because they tried to break it, but they couldn't. I guess he has learned his lesson. I'm pretty sure he won't do it again, but I just want to enjoy this feeling of victory a couple of days more. I will free it in 2 to 3 days, I guess. Edit. I left a tiny and very discreet note saying that I will free his bike in exchange for $100, and I wanted to ask for more, but probably he wouldn't pay it. I wrote, "Tape the bill under the seat. I will wait a couple of weeks. If he doesn't pay, I will take it out at night as far as possible from the place, steal his seat, cut the brakes and tires, and all the other small pieces I can get or destroy. I can't steal the bike and dump her somewhere else because he locked it, so I would need to carry it. Also, the lock I got is the thickest and one of the most expensive in a bicycle shop. You can't cut it with normal tools because the thing is as thick as my finger. I'm pretty sure you need some kind of industrial tool to cut it. It would be easier to cut the parking device because the metal is thinner there." This was around the time I was pregnant with my little boy. I was about 7 months along, huge belly and all, when this wild incident happened in my favorite cafe. I was in line minding my own business when this lady behind me, let's call her entitled mom, tapped on my shoulder. I turned around and she's there with her kid, who looked about 5 or 6 years old. "Wow, you're so big. When are you due?" she asks, with a weirdly excited look on her face. "Next month," I reply, trying to be polite. Then without any warning, she reaches out and starts rubbing my belly. I'm stunned. I mean, who does that to a stranger? Could you not please? I say, stepping back. I'm not really comfortable with people touching me. She looks offended, like I just told her off for no reason. It's just a pregnant belly. What's the big deal? My daughter wants to feel the baby kick. I'm about to respond when the barista calls out that my order is ready. Thankful for the escape, I head to the counter thinking that's the end of it. But boy, was I wrong. As I'm adding sugar to my coffee, the entitled mother marches over, dragging her kid with her. You know you shouldn't be drinking coffee when you're pregnant. It's bad for the baby. I am getting irritated now. Thanks for the advice, but my doctor says it's fine in moderation. The entitled mother is not having it. Well, I think you should listen to me. I've had 3 kids, and I know what I'm talking about. And that's when things escalate. Her kid starts whining about wanting to touch my belly again, and the entitled mother just loses it. Let my daughter touch your belly. You're being so selfish. I'm shocked and just blurt out, no, I don't have to let anyone touch me if I don't want to. And that's when she slaps me. Right there in the cafe, in front of everyone. It's like time stops. I can't believe she just hit me. The barista rushes over asking if I'm okay and telling the entitled mother she needs to leave. The entitled mother is screaming about how I'm the rude one, how I'm denying her daughter a learning experience or something like that. It's just nuts. Someone calls the police and they arrive in what feels like seconds. The entitled mother is still ranting when they come in. They talk to the barista, a couple of customers who saw the whole thing, and then they talk to me. I'm trying to stay calm, but I'm shaking. The idea that someone would think it's okay to slap a pregnant woman over something like this is just beyond me. The police end up arresting the entitled mother for assault. Her kid is crying and I actually feel bad for the little girl. It's not her fault, her mom's a lunatic. So, when I was entry level a long time ago, my boss made me come in a day after I discovered my dog dead in my room from choking on something he grabbed and swallowed on my desk. There were obvious signs she panicked before she passed away. I tried to call in a sick day because I had a combo of grief and guilt, but my employer wasn't having it. I was only a few weeks into the job, so didn't have any sick days. I was technically on contract in my probationary phase. And I was fresh off of unemployment and needed this job. I came in visibly sad and tried to ask to go home one more time. The boss didn't care and told me to man up, it's just a dog. So I was like screw it and just let my feelings take over. I was openly crying and sobbing at my desk while working on my project and answering emails. This is one of those modern, open floor plan offices / design studios with no walls and tiny partitions instead of cubicles. And everyone can see me and hear me. I am literally wiping tears off my face and desk as I work. This is also the early 2000s where the term toxic masculinity wasn't coined, so seeing a grown man openly sobbing at this desk really threw people off. When asked by coworkers and people passing by what happened, I told everyone what happened to my dog and that I didn't even have a chance to take care of her body, so she was lying in my bed dead, wrapped in my blanket, until I could get home and figure out her cremation / burial stuff. When they asked why I was even at work, I very loudly stated that my manager didn't think it was acceptable excuse to miss work. Needless to say, she looked like a monster, and I was told by her boss I'd have 2 days paid to mourn and take care of my dog, and I shouldn't have had to come in. When I was 10 years old, I, 17 female, lost all of my hair and have been bald ever since. It bothered me a lot at first, so I would always wear wigs to hide my baldness. For about a year, I've kind of come to accept it, and now I even think I can look pretty cute even without wearing a wig. So I started wearing wigs less and less, and since about 3 months ago, I stopped wearing them completely. Now my older sister, 24 female, is getting married in a few weeks, and she asked me if I would wear a wig to her wedding. I said I wouldn't, and she asked me again to do it for her, because it's just a small effort on my part. I refused again because I finally got comfortable with my appearance and I don't want to hide it anymore. She told me I am being unreasonable because it's such a small thing to do for her wedding day and walked off. Now my parents are also trying to convince me to just do this one little thing for my sister on her special day to make her happy. But it feels like everyone is just trying to hide that I am bald. I don't understand her point if I had never gone anywhere without a wig before, and this would be the first time everyone saw me without a wig. But everyone has already seen me without a wig. Everyone already knows I'm bald. So there wouldn't be any attention stealing. Am I the jerk for refusing to honor my sister's request about wearing a wig? And now some comments on the post. Someone saying, "You're not the jerk. I am getting married this year and one of my friends has missed out on so many wedding parties because they look different and don't fit the aesthetic. When I asked them, I specifically said, I want them exactly as they are, because I love them exactly as they are. And the whole point of you asking them is that I want the people I love to stand up there with me. Your baldness is part of what makes you, you. A bride's request stops at attire, and even then, that's limited. It doesn't extend to the existence of color, of your hair, or tattoos, or to require people to dress contrary to their gender identity, or suggesting dresses contrary to individual religious belief. If one of those things bothers you, don't ask the person to be in your wedding party, sister or not. To be honest, I will counter with, I am going as me, or I'm going as a guest. Let me know which you would prefer. And hold that line. Worst case scenario, you don't have the pressure of standing up with everyone. ETA, and if you're starting as a guest, that's an even stronger what the hell request on your sister's part. Not the jerk, hold your ground, go as you, or not at all. Another commenter adds, not the jerk. Tell her something like this. I finally grew comfortable in my own skin with my head, and I think I'm beautiful, just the way I am. Are you saying that you think I'm not? Or are you saying that you believe that people can't see around it? I get that it's your wedding, but are you really thinking that some people are so shallow that they would not see you? Do you really think so little about others? A third commenter goes with, not the jerk. I'm a bald woman too, 52 years old, started losing all my hair in my 20s, and have only recently come to terms with it and started going out without a wig. Society puts such ridiculous value on women having beautiful hair that it's treated like some deformity when we have none. It's amazing and wonderful that at 17 you are brave and bold enough to be yourself and embrace your own kind of beauty. It's pity and offensive that your family wants you to hide yourself for any reason at all. Your sister has no right to ask this of you. I hope your life goes wonderfully in the future and is filled with people who not only accept your uniqueness, but treasure it and appreciate your strengths. And that, my friends, wraps up another episode of K-Korner. From the hilarious to the heartwarming and sometimes just downright bizarre, we've journeyed through it all today. I hope these stories brought a smile to your face, maybe even made you think a bit. Remember, in the crazy world we live in, there is always room for a little humor and a lot of understanding. If you loved these stories, don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe for more. Got a story of your own? Drop it in the comments below. Stay awesome, stay kind, and I'll see you in the next video. This is Crown, signing off.